Analog stuff is completely unreliable, it's fragile, it breaks down a lot, it changes sound every time you turn it on, and maintenance is a pain in the... Those were a few misconceptions a lot of people have about analog equipment. And let me show you my own perspective on these misconceptions and why I think they are, in fact, misconceptions. This is, well, part of my digital setup. My digital setup consists of a Mac Pro with everything in it that it would hold. So all memory, CPUs and graphics card stuff. It runs a Pro Tools HD2 setup and the software version is Pro Tools 9. Which is the most reliable setup I've seen so far. And believe me, I'm doing tests with Pro Tools 12 right now and it's horrible. It doesn't even work at this point in time. And even this Pro Tools system, and even this Pro Tools 9 system sometimes decides to do some different things on its own. For instance, last week I had something that it wouldn't boot, and after I've tried it 3 times it did boot. So that's kind of strange. This is a system, although it's reliable, I wouldn't bet my life on it. Really, I won't. This is my Neumann console. Well, y'all know him already. And it's an old beast, it's like 30 years old or something, but it still switches on every morning without any drama at all. In fact, I would be very restful if my life would be depending on the circuits inside of this thing. Because this thing is built like a brick, it's absolutely 100% reliable. A computer is built to last for 5 years. Well, that's what the insurance companies say. This Mac Pro is celebrating its 10th anniversary, which is pretty amazing for a computer 10 years old. If you think about that a bit longer, it's actually pretty short. I mean, 10 years. And although I'm pretty sure that the Mac Pro will still run in 5 years from now, I'm not sure if it's a good idea to still be working on it. I mean, software gets old pretty quickly. And even I will soon get into a position in which I need to upgrade. And although the Mac Pro has outlasted its own support period in terms of software, most computers won't do that. They are literally built with a quality to last a maximum of 5 years. This vintage and of course analog fader has been built by Germans. And those Germans said to each other while designing it, "Es darf nicht kaputt gehen," which means that it isn't allowed to break down. Breaking down isn't in their vocabulary. I mean, look at this fader construction with a bar behind it and everything. You can really have an elephant rest its feet on top of this thing, drown it in coffee, flush it with water and put it back into the console to finish your next mix. And the mentality by the manufacturers back in the days was to make the best thing they could build. If manufacturers would make quality like this today, they would go bankrupt in a few months because nobody would buy their new products anymore. I mean, is anyone still using their iPhone 3GSs? Another one of the arguments between digital and analog is sound stability. Of course, a computer is like a calculator and 2 + 2 is always 4 for a computer. But it isn't true that analog equipment sounds different every time you turn it on. And I heard a few comments of people that said, well, I don't want to recall my mix the next day to notice that it sounds completely different from last day. And the thing is that I'm only receiving these comments from the I'm against analog group, if I can call them like that. I've personally never ever experienced this behavior on my own equipment. It's also possible that this myth has been made up by people that don't maintain their equipment as much as I do or some other really analog freaks do. Which brings us to the last part of this video. So they say analog equipment has got high running costs because of the maintenance involved. But if you think about it, the average time between maintenance is about 20 years. If you do it correctly, of course. I mean, you need to replace your computer in 5 years. So yes, maintenance is a bit of work, but if you do it You will get a much longer lifespan out of your equipment. And maintenance gets as expensive as you make it yourself. The components needed for one of these console modules costs about €2. So the major costs are in hours. And for me, I've learned it myself how to do it. And it's not difficult at all. And I will advise everybody to learn about analog equipment and how to maintain it. And this also comes back in my profession as a sound engineer. Because if I understand what the equipment is actually doing, I also understand why something is working and why something isn't working. In terms of sound, of course. And in the end, if you want to get better at your profession, you simply have to study. Alright, so that's it for this video about analog versus digital from my own perspective. Very important, it's my perspective, you don't have to agree with it. So stop those rude comments that are annoying. If you want to see more of these videos, check out the playlist. Want to see other videos of me, you can do that over here. Also, if you really like my videos and want to support me in a way, you can try supporting me on Patreon. It's over here, I've linked it. So check it out and I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and put a thumbs up. And for now, I'm going to say bye-bye. Bye.